All right, we are live for the third episode of the Atlas Rising podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking to a good friend of mine, Jay, and we'll be touching on his time in service, his time as a police officer, and his sobriety, which is, me personally, it's anyone that can get sober. I hold them to like the highest standard, and you guys have heard me say that before. So, Jay, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, man. Thanks. I'm glad to finally be on this. Yeah, so we were in the Marines together. I enlisted in 2002, so that makes me really old. Um, I just did my 4 years and I got out. Then after the Marines, I became a police officer in New Jersey, and I worked there for 13 or so years until I ended up medically retiring. And now I live in the great state of Florida. And I also like long walks on the beach, and you know but yeah, that's a little about me. So
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your time overseas in the Marine Corps and what extra, let's call it baggage, right? What extra baggage you came back with, and how you were able to move past that and segue into a new chapter in your life, becoming a police officer.
yeah, so basically, um, we did I did a total of three deployments. One was on a MEU, so on a ship, and then two more were in Afghanistan. um, our first deployment in Afghanistan, um, two of our guys were killed in a firefight, and then I got back stateside because that was at the end of our deployment. I got back stateside, and then I went to immediately to 1-3, so a different unit. Um, and yeah, so then we did a bunch of did some work in Afghanistan, and then I came back, and I was it was time for me to get out. So I was just tossed out into the civilian world. I didn't really know much about post-traumatic stress. Um, I thought it was more for the guys who did a lot more than me. I was involved in a decent amount of stuff. I saw a lot of stuff, but I thought it was always one of those. Oh, it's never going to affect me. Um, but now looking back and knowing what I know now, I'm like, wow, these are all the signs of it. So when I got out, I couldn't hold a job. Um, I started cleaning pools. So going from Marine Corps infantry, being a squad leader, doing all this stuff, to being a pool boy, um, is insane. So I was drinking a lot. Um, I would I was not able to sleep at all. I would drink like a 30 pack and drink half a bottle of whiskey just to be able to get some sleep for the night. Um, and that, of course, it affected my health, my friendships, my family life, and of course, I couldn't like like I couldn't hold a job down. Then um, I met my wife, and it was like, all right, well, it's time to really like start um, start trying to focus on a career, and I can't be a total drunk. Um, and can't be a total drunk while I'm trying to go to the police academy. So I cut back a little bit. I still didn't seek any help. Um, I just I kind of temporarily put all my feelings on hold, and I just it's just like in the military. It's time to move on and start a new chapter. Um, like you can't reflect too much on the past. But little did I know, it was just eating at me inside. So, long story short, I got back, or I got onto the police department, and I started my career. And started drinking again, but it was nothing crazy, or I didn't think it was anything crazy at this point. But yeah, that's pretty much how I. Well, again, I also always knew that the alcohol was a factor. I just didn't want to admit it. I was out of the Marines for less than a year, and I caught a DUI. I was leaving a punk show in Jersey, and I got arrested for a DUI. So I'm like, great, my career that I'm just about to start is over. But things worked out in the end, and then I started my career as a police officer. So
Yeah, it's definitely interesting how across the board we all say the same thing. Like, granted, yes, you and I, we did surf together. We've been in contact. When you got out, a few years later, we made contact again. You're a huge part of the nonprofit and everything, with everything you do behind the scenes. Um, but it's interesting how all veterans, which with as involved as you are with the mental health piece and all the tries and tribulations that you've been through to get yourself to where you're at right now, we all say the same thing. We just need to move on. It's that I know someone to my left and right that's got it a lot worse than me. And I talked about this in, I want to say, my last podcast, when we got back from my last deployment with 2-4. We were all on the parade deck and all that stuff, getting our Purple Hearts, and I got the same freaking award that the captain next to me that lost his leg got. Like, we both got Purple Hearts, and I'm just looking at him. I'm like, and that's when I had that mentality as well. I was like, you know what, I can't talk about my stuff because I know a captain that's got the same award as me, and he's missing a leg.
yeah,
Like, he's got it worse than me, right?
yeah.
Um, as far as transitioning out and everything for you, it sounds like you went through a lot of what a lot of the guys that got out in your generation or your time frame, because as you know, with the TRS or separations course, whatever, the steps and taps, right?
Yeah.
It was a week long, high five it out. Here's your paperwork. Here's how to kind of navigate the VA and all that stuff. Do you think that the lack of preparedness contributed to you not being able to hold a job and increase in your drinking and all that stuff?
So it's funny you bring that up. Um, my my class that I went through, and they said if you, here's how to get these VA benefits, which again, we're talking 2006, so it's still pretty new for like the GWAT era. Now they said it pretty much every day. They said if you want to be a police officer or uh, like a first responder, medic or firefighter, or come back into the military. Because also 2006, a lot of like the contract work was going on. A bunch of my buddies did that, so it's like, oh, if you want to do any of that stuff, you should not apply for any rating. In claim zero, uh, don't talk about your combat experience. Don't talk about your post max stress. Just move on. It's a new chapter. Just keep going. Um, I feel like that that set me up for just saying, all right, well, I guess there is nothing wrong with me. It's all temporary. Okay. Um, yeah, it's all temporary. Like this is going to get once I get into the civilian world and I start I start doing some nonsense job. Uh, like all feelings are just going to go away. But then you also, on the flip side, you go from being uh, like a team guy, being um, like a squad leader or some high impact guy to with me, you're a pool boy. Like so, and then I worked at some other like mindless job where I was doing inventory. So I'm like, how do I go from leading guys on night operations and you know and planning missions and you know doing all the like the cool guy stuff to now I'm working, I'm doing inventory. Like so that like it didn't help. I feel like I was just tossed out and said, all right, well, just figure it out yourself. So it would have been nice to have some sort of plan or goal or some sort of like education of like, oh, here's are the different jobs you could do with your skill set. Um, I think it would have helped, but it didn't. So you can't go back and change the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And it sounds like you definitely, when you said doing all the cool guy stuff to doing like a nonsense job, it just like every other veteran, whenever we get out, you lose your sense of purpose, right? Because you were ultimately responsible not only for your life, but if you were a squad leader, a total of 13 lives, including yourself,
Yep.
team leader, total of 14, so on and so forth. And now here you are in a civilian world, and it's just like, all right, what do I do with my hands? I'm
Yeah.
gonna go, clean pools and stuff.
Yep.
Um, with that being said, it's not any better. The transition process hasn't improved. I mean, technology has improved, but it's still a week-long course of now it's this is how you sign up for a LinkedIn account, not how to use your LinkedIn, not how to network on LinkedIn, but it's like, hey, check in the box. We told these soon-to-be veterans how to get LinkedIn set up. Here's a professional resume that's 4 pages long,
Right.
and that was like one of my biggest things. It was like, you know what? I just retiring last year. I did TRS, transition readiness seminars, what they call it now, almost 2 years ago now, and I thought that they were just giving me all the good intel and all the good stuff to do. Like they showed me how to get my joint transcripts and everything, so I can start college and get those credits going. And I got out. I started leaning on some buddies, and it's just like my buddy Matt Kohler from their platoon. Um, I showed him my resume, and he's like, "Dude, like, what is this? Four
Yeah.
pages? Like,
Yeah.
that's not a professional resume at all." So it's crazy from '06 to let's call it 2021. Not much has changed, and a lot of us we have to lean on the guys that got out before us,
Right.
and like, hey, what did you mess up so I don't mess it up myself, right? And it's a sad reality that's how it is. And I'm hoping with us and this nonprofit that we can we'll be able to change that. We'll be able to get that huge education piece out, like we talked about,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
on educating service members slash new veterans on how to navigate the VA, how to get their um, GI Bill, or if they qualify for voc rehab and all that stuff, like how to get all that stuff done. Or it's VNRE now, but it used to be called voc rehab.
Yeah.
But so as far as so you're cleaning pools, all that stuff, drinking heavy. You start the academy, and once you're done with the academy, I think that's when we actually reconnected, right?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't remember what I did yesterday, but
same, same.
yeah,
So
it was
tell me what actually, tell me what training to be a police officer was like compared to earning the title Marine. Like,
it,
what's a huge like disparity?
yeah, it was actually easier than I thought. Um, there were a lot of people in my academy class that were, if you want to call them, like with Marines, we call them like the integrity violators, like guys that would we all be in PT during the academy, and the instructor would walk down to the other end of the room. Then these guys would just stop doing push-ups. Like, dude, what do you, but like have that internal drive to stop cheating. Like it's only push-ups. Like it's not that hard. And so that was pretty eye-opening to see the like how lazy people are. And it was just, it seemed like a lot of you know with a lot of stuff in the military, but it was a lot of, oh, just like you were saying, oh, we taught you this, all right, so check the box. Well, let's really explore that, especially as a cop, you're doing a lot of um, like high profile stuff. If you if you screw something up, you're going to jail, or someone else is going to go to jail, or someone's going to die. And they never really did a big big deep dive in like into that stuff, which is mind blowing. But yeah, it's definitely a big change from the Marines to being a police officer. But it's yeah, I don't know. I'm a space cadet today, so
So, as far as your time in the police force and all that stuff, obviously, a few things transpired for you to end up
yeah.
leaving the way you did and
So
moving to Florida.
yeah, I'll jump into that. So we so I was on. I moved around to a couple different towns in New Jersey. I finally got the town that I was aiming for. I wanted to work for this town since I was 10 years old. So I was finally on it. It was a big town. Um, one of the first. So I was a cop already for 3 years, but I was new to this town. Um, I was involved in a high speed chase with the state police were involved. We I jump on the tail end. Uh, the bad guy's car goes up and almost crashes into a house, and I get out, start running up to the car, and the trooper shoots a guy like right in front of me. So I'm like, oh shit, this is my first. It's my first shooting. Like, what do I do? And it was different than being in the Marines. Like in the Marines, you did that, and then you moved on and you went with the objective. But here, like you have to tell your story so many times. So now, fast forward uh, a few more years. I was on a SWAT job, um, and we're looking for this bad guy, and he ended up being right above me on like in a building, and he knew we're like all around looking for him, and he shot himself right above me, and we pulled him out. He's still alive, so now I have to ride in a helicopter I have to ride in a helicopter up to the hospital. Uh, you know, it's a criminal investigation, so I'm trying to do this investigation. The guy's family's coming in and had little kids, and we're just going. You know, I'm trying to talk to the family to figure out what's going on and who he is and all that stuff. And then he dies. So that I was like, oh, I saw this guy. I saw him shoot himself. Like that's weird. Okay, all right, move on. Then and then the main reason why I retired, I was involved in my own officer involved shooting. It was a fatal. Um, the guy came out with the gun. I shot him. I killed him. But again, it's weird because it's a switch that you have to flip where instantly that this guy's pointing a gun at you and he's going to shoot your partner, and then you shoot him and now he's on the ground, and now you have to secure the scene but also treat him as if he didn't just try to kill you. Like it's bizarre. So then Jesus, now fast forward another year. I was at the scene of another police shooting, and we didn't know what was going on inside the house. There's a guy probably 10 feet away from me, and I sit there for, I was holding the main corner, the main entry, and I sat there for, I don't know, a long time, like hours, as this guy is sitting there with his brains just spilling out down the steps. So I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I've been through enough. I've been through a lot of stuff in the Marines. I've been through a lot with the police department in just a short career. Like, I think the statistic, only 1% of all police are involved in any like officer involved shooting or on the scene of one, and I'm now on my third or fourth one at the time. I'm like, there's only so many times you can roll a die before it comes up with the number you don't want.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start. I was talking with my wife. I was like, I think I'm going to start getting help. And then I was like, no, I'm not a bitch. I'm not going to do that. But I noticed my my drinking routine that I had back, like right after the Marines, it came back. So I'm drinking a lot. I'm drinking a whole lot. I'm becoming angry. All the signs are there. Again, I'm not paying any attention to it. Because again, I'm like, big deal. What's the big deal? But yeah, I started to seek some help, but I was trying to get some mental health, but I kept avoiding the giant elephant in the room, which was the alcohol. And now knowing more about it, obviously, like, if you drink, it's a depressant. It makes you more depressed. So I'm trying to get better mentally and get past things and smooth out my life, while also being depressed, and using that as an outlet for using my drinking as an outlet. And it was getting bad. So now, my one therapist I was going to for like a year, I put the paperwork in to retire. And every appointment, my doctor was like, oh, did you stop drinking. I go, no. And then I kept lying to her. Like, oh, I only had a glass of wine with dinner. But in theory, I had 3 fireball shooters and a bottle of wine. And then she's like, oh, did you start working out? Start running or start doing something, find a like a healthy outlet. I go, no, I'm good. Like I would go to Planet Fitness and walk on a treadmill and be like, all right, that's it. So um, again, fast forward, now totally retired. Um, I was drinking quite a bit. I was drinking a lot, and then I had a close call. I drank. It was after a VFW meeting. I drank, and then I drove home, and I hit a curb and I think a sign. I sideswiped a sign, and I show up at my house. My wife's like, "Look, you're gonna kill yourself. Like, it's either us, like me and our 2 kids, or you're drinking. So which one is it?" So at that point, um, I was like, you know what? It's time. It's time to stop. So that anniversary was just 2 weeks ago, I think. So yeah, it's been 4 years without any alcohol, without the want or the need for alcohol. So it's been a crazy journey.
That's every time I hear that story, it's and how long you've been sober, it freaking still amazes me, man. Like you know how I talk about my friends that got sober and everything, and especially everything you've been through, everything, one of my buddies, Nick, he's been through and is still currently going through, but um as you know, and I leaned on you when I was trying to get sober. I only lasted 21 days. And for me, I think I was getting sober for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
I was getting sober for someone else. I wasn't getting sober for myself, right? And for you, it's amazing that you because we met up in Worcester, right?
So
When you're at the program, and when you told me about the program, I was like, holy crap, like that's intense.
yeah. So let's talk about the program. It was after my shooting. I was up. I went to Boston for I forget the name of it, but it's out of Harvard. Um, it's out of like the Harvard area, but it's a program for first responders and military. Um, it's a 2 week like in depth plan or a coursework that you stay there. It's all voluntary. You can leave whenever you want, but if you stay there, you have to stay sober and you have to attend all the classes. So the classes you attend, it's everything from what alcohol does to you to um, to learning about your your post traumatic stress to just moving on with everything, learning new hobbies. It's a great program. Um, but yeah, part of that program. See, again, part of me was always like, oh, it's I don't need AA. I don't need a program because I don't need a drink. That's how I defined it. Like there's people that need a drink every day and just to survive. Me, I could go a week or two if I'm busy. I'll go like a week or two without anything. And now, um, and then with this program, you start realizing like, all right, well, it's not just this one definition of drinking. It's I was more like a binge drinker where I couldn't have one, I would have a bunch. Or you start to start to realize that you drink as a coping mechanism, which is all, again, it's all stuff we know, but like by hearing it from other people, guys who have been, it's definitely eye opening, and there's a lot of good people that have changed. I think I heard this quote, and I'm probably going to screw it up, but there's something like, I've never met anyone who hasn't regretted stop drinking. So yeah, I definitely screwed that up, but you get the idea.
Yeah.
So I've met people that regret their last drink, or they regret that one party that they went to and crash a car or whatever. But I've never met anyone that was like, you know what, getting sober is a stupid idea. It sounds cliche, but I've never done it. And it's it's said in today's society, though, that if you go to a party or a barbecue or something, it's like, hey man, want a beer? No thanks, I don't drink. Well, why? Because I don't want it.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell is wrong with you? It's like, well, we're not gonna turn this into a therapy session, but like, I just don't drink. Like, you don't ask people, go, hey man, want some heroin? Oh no thanks, I don't do heroin. Well, why? What's wrong with you? Like, if you say it like that, you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's tough, because I'll go back to what you said a few minutes ago about getting out of the Marine Corps. It's like, what do you do with these hands? It's idle hands. All right, what do you do when you're if you're trying to get sober and you are at a party? It's like you always are walking around with like a whiskey glass or a bottle of beer or a can of beer or something. Well, now you just have to convert that over to a gallon of water, like a maniac like me, or just find different things. And the idle hands, like, you put the kids to bed, and it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna watch a show on Netflix, and when I would normally make like old fashioned, well, now I'm not gonna make an old fashioned. I'm gonna have a glass of Diet Coke or something. Still not good for you, but it's better than a glass of bourbon. But there's different things that you have to change in your life to make it easier, like an easier process. And you said before that it's we started going sober for all the wrong reasons. If it was me or with me, like, I think I got sober because of my kids. That's it's not for me, but I guess indirectly it is. So that's what you have to do is find a reason. If that reason is something stupid, like, oh, I want to save, I want to save money, like, each month, then fine, do it. But you just have to start, and that's the hardest part. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Starting is definitely the hardest part. Admitting you have a problem is the hardest part as well.
yeah,
But once you start staying committed with everything else that's going on in your life and all that stuff, that just increases the craving and that for that stress relief, whether it be beer, whiskey, whatever. That's why I'll say it a million more times. That's why I hold you guys that got sober and stayed sober to a higher level than the rest of us, because it's like we know as Marines what commitment we're making when we raise our right hand and step on those yellow footprints. Um, and I think that staying sober and sticking to that lifestyle, because now it's your lifestyle, right?
Yeah,
It's not, you're not like an annoying lifestyle like being a vegan or something. Like, oh hey, I'm vegan. Everyone needs to know type deal. Shout
it's
out to all the vegans out there.
it's bad enough,
Yeah,
so I have to
yeah,
tell people that. So
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, it definitely staying sober for as long as you have, and I'm sure you'll continue to you keep it up and all that stuff. I definitely hold you guys to a higher level. Now, with your sobriety, what came with that? Like, what did you notice? Obviously, we know you're into fitness a lot now and all that stuff, but walk me through or walk us through, after sobriety, what happened?
so so after I said that I'm done, I'm never drinking again. Um, I was first I felt it was uh, it's kind of the opposite of what you, it's different of what you expect. You would feel like, oh well, I'm clean and sober. It's like, being real dirty, out in the field and coming back and taking a shower. Like, you feel clean, you feel better. It wasn't like that at first, because you feel either guilty of all the shit that you've done, or you feel like you're missing out with, going out to the bar, standing around a fire pit and drinking beer. You feel like there's always something missing. Um, and there probably will always be some sort of piece that doesn't always feel right, but that's fine. So I noticed a first. I'll talk about the negatives, um, just to get those out of the way. The negatives I've noticed. I was saying before, like being socially awkward, because most of us were too uptight, um, and you have a couple of drinks, you feel nice and loose, you start talking to more people, start enjoying more. Um, so now I had that crutch that I was using to to cut loose. I didn't have that anymore. So I had my own accountability. So I'm like, if I want to be an idiot, I know everything is because of the decisions I make with the sober mind. And then something else that no one really talks about is that a bunch of weight gain because of it. Because well, at least with me, that's all I can say is with me, there was, um, from all the wine or the beer, um, like the mixed drinks, you have that steady flow of your sugar of always coming in. It's like having a bowl of ice cream every night, where instead of a bowl of ice cream, you have a couple glasses of a sweet red wine, or you have a couple old fashions and it has some sugar or something in it. So now your body is craving the uh, the sugar compound that it just needs it. So now you're eating more ice cream or more sweets or whatever. So I gained some weight from that. Um, but now the positive is uh, is you remember everything you do. For something that's bad and good, but like you don't have that sick the sick feeling afterwards of, like, even with me, like I knew that there was something wrong, because every time I would drink, if it was some cheap beer or some very expensive scotch or whiskey, I'd wake up and it was a terrible hangover every day. I would throw up. So now you don't have that anymore. So now you just have to. It's great because like you wake up, you're a little still tired or whatever, and you're like, wait, at least I don't have a hangover to fight anymore. Um, More positives, like you don't have to worry about your kids seeing you screwed up, or you saying something wrong to your kids, or not anything uh, that was meant, but just whatever, some drunk talk. Like you don't have to worry about that with your kids. Um, and then just being more present. That was a big factor of it too. Just seeing like not having to worry about um, oh, I can't wait to leave here. It's my son's his soccer practice. I can't wait to leave here so I can stop at the liquor store and grab some whiskey, start tying one on. Like you don't have to worry about that anymore because you're not doing that. So you get to enjoy the kids more. You get to enjoy your own health. Um, I guess this is a negative. And you said that I'm big into fitness now. So a lot of uh, of ultra marathon runners, a lot of Ironman people, um, marathon runners. They all, uh, most of them are all former addicts. If it's either drugs or alcohol or something, they all miss that thrill that just like we would have back in the day of going out to a bar, and you have that thrill of being out and partying and all that stuff. Now you have that thrill of crossing the finish line. Sounds cheesy, um, but a lot of good people have done it, and it's helpful. I was just today. I just ran, and then it's raining here, so I spent an hour on my stationary bike. I was watching a show called Iron Mind with it's about this one addict who turned into doing his first Ironman, and we all have that addictive personality, and if you can take that for the good and use it for good, um, it definitely helps. There's do you know who what's his name, Rich Roll is?
No.
He's a podcaster. He's an ultra marathon runner. Um, he interviews all these crazy people. Um, he's very smart, but he talks about his downfall with alcohol and I think drugs, and then he turned that into because we'll always have that you going from the Marines to now being out, like you're always craving that high adrenaline, that you know just that lifestyle. And now if you can use that for something positive, it's great. um but yeah, I think I've talked enough about that.
No, no. I love hearing it, man. As far as your training and all that stuff goes, would you say that being committed to the training and all that stuff, and knowing that you have to run or swim, what do you say, 2 miles here pretty soon?
Yeah, about.
Um,
Yeah.
that has not only kept you sober, but how has that affected your mental health? Is it more of a block on stuff you still need to work on, or is it like, hey, this is my outlet now. This is how I'm healing.
So um I would like to give you an easy answer, but
I know it's kind of a loaded question.
I would say honestly, like a little bit of both. Um, because you don't, because I get up every day at 4:15. I'm at the pool. I'm swimming laps at 5 o'clock. Um, I'm sticking to a schedule, and then I have to get on the bike for 2 or 3 hours, and then I have to run straight off the bike for hour, 2 hours, whatever it is. So I'm busy. Excuse me. I'm busy in that sense. So it's kind of like those idle hands. If you're always busy, it doesn't let bad thoughts in. Now on the flip side, if you're on that bike for 3 hours, or you're doing um, like your marathon training, you're just running for 2, 3, 4 hours. It's only you, and it's your head. So you have a lot of time to reflect, to think, to dig into some deep dark spots, and to really see, oh well, why is this? Because you have nothing but time. um, I was training for my ultra marathon last year, and I ran a lot, like all during the week, and then on the weekends I had to, yeah, with the ultra marathon, you're I would do a 25-mile or a 26-mile run on Saturday, and then on Sunday I would do 20 or 21 miles. So you're
Oh,
yeah, so you're in your head 4 to 5 hours on Saturday, 3 to 4 hours on Sunday, every weekend. And there's only so much music you can listen to. There's only so many podcasts you uh, can listen to, or audiobooks, until it's time to just say, all right, let's face this demon, and let's figure out what's going on. So that's definitely it's good, because it gives you really some time to really, to really square up to your demons, and also use that as a fuel. Um, have you ever heard of the term called the pain cave?
no.
Um, it's used a lot in, again, like the ultra marathons. They call it a pain cave. You're supposed to, like, when you're in your rough mileage. It's dark, it's cold, it's rainy. You you just dig into the pain cave, and that's where you work out all your demons. I've changed that term to, I call it a pain tunnel, because you go into it, and you're gonna fight all these intrusive thoughts, or, oh well, like the self-doubt, uh you're pissed off because of this, or you ruined this friendship because of your anger outbursts, and you ruin this because of, whatever. But it's a pain tunnel, because there's a light at the end, and you have to work your way through it. And then you get through it, and then you move on. That term, I also use it for, like, not only your mental health while you're working out, but like something stupid, like, oh, you have to run up this hill, or my foot hurts. All right, just get through it. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Just get through, and you'll be good. So that's,
Yeah.
take it for what you will, but that's what helps me.
No, absolutely. I can not as intensely as you, obviously, but I can definitely relate. With my limitations because of my back and all that stuff, it's whatever I can do in the gym, I'm doing it 110%.
Yeah, and
And I'm pushing through the pain, and ultimately that was the reason for me having to retire early, is because like I was pushing through the pain. I was getting that pain tolerance, like you said, built up.
yeah,
um, and it's always amazing to see people that can just like get up one morning and run. What did you say? 25 one day and 20 the next day.
Yeah.
That's that's nuts. Like the kids and I were just at the zoo a few weeks ago, and we walked like 4 miles, and I was like, I was a cripple for the next 2 days because of my back.
Yeah. It's funny how I think with again, I'm not a doctor, but I think with a lot of the pain, at least for me, I can say, was, I've a bunch of injuries from being in from sitting in a patrol car for for 15 years and all that stuff. Um, but a lot of it like has to do with your, again, with your mental health. Um, if you are miserable and you're always depressed, like your body's gonna hurt. Like uh and then of course you put on weight, so your joints hurt, so you don't want to go do anything because everything hurts. um I I laugh. It popped up in my Facebook, my timeline from a couple years ago recently. um I was sent to the hospital at the height of COVID because I was also 80 something pounds heavier. um I brought my kids on a walk through the woods. We're doing like a fun, like they had airsoft guns, and we're doing like a quarantine patrol. I called it. Um, get home, I shower, I bend over to unplug my vacuum that was plugged in for some reason, and I almost went paralyzed because it was like nerve damage that did something to my back, and I couldn't move my legs from my waist down. Was not working for hours. Um, that's obviously not mental, but I feel like if I was in a better state of mind, if I was healthier mentally, I would have gone up and walked more. I would have been more active, so maybe I wouldn't have. Um, I just unplug a vacuum and then end up in a hospital. Like, who the hell does that?
Life comes at you fast.
Yeah, apparently it was me. So
Yeah.
it's like, what the fuck? But yeah, it's just the main part is like I hear a lot from guys like oh well, like you, like, oh, I can't run, so uh there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I can't run, so that means I can't do anything. That's But like you, oh, I can't run, so let me hit the gym, let me uh start lifting, start getting my kids involved in lifting. um and who knows, maybe you'll start swimming because that's great for your back, or start cycling or something else too, um to
Yeah.
to also help. um if it's, again, but or just hitting the gym, it's great. There's I was getting to There's a lot of people that say, oh, well, I can't do this one thing, so that means I can't do anything. No, like, find out what's good, what can be used, what's positive. Like, oh well, it doesn't. My back hurts when I run, but it doesn't hurt when I like when I walk. Okay, so maybe start walking, or if I start doing this, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff you could do with limitations.
No,
So
no, absolutely. Yeah, and I have a Peloton in the garage. It's just collecting dust that I need to get back on. So thanks for the reminder.
yeah.
Um, so as far as any kind of advice you would give whoever is listening, um, what would you say the big first step for you was? And I know you touched on it, but kind of reiterate again what has kept you sober.
Um, Mainly my family, my kids, who just run into the room while I'm on a podcast.
That was awesome. I might not cut that out.
No, um, uh, yeah, just finding, um, just finding your why. It could be, um, it could be anything. Just, oh well, I'm sober because I want to do this or I want to do that. Just find your purpose of what it is and stick to it. Um, and then it gets easier, and then it ends up being like a bragging right, or a uh, like a term of endearment. And it's like it's like, oh, like last week I just hit my 4 years. Like, holy shit, I haven't had a beer in 4 years. And then the next year, goddamn, 5 years. Like it's entertaining to see how the contest, like, well, how far can I go?
That's awesome. Yeah.
If like you, like, oh well, last time I tried going sober, I only made it 21 days. All right, well, let me try it again on July 1st. Let me get through 30 days. Oh, cool, I got 30 days. All right, I had a drink or a couple drinks. All right, now next time, let me try double that. Um, it just uh, it's like fitness, or whatever. If it's running or lifting, oh well, I could bench press. I have 245s, or I've 145 on each side. All right, well, next week I have a 45 and a 10 on each side. Shit. All right, I'll keep this going. All right. Next one I have, and just build up from there. And it's you versus you. It's pat on your own back. So
Absolutely.
it's definitely, again, if you drink, if you sneak a drink, who are you lying to? No one except yourself. So I have to go soon.
Yeah.
I've been drinking a gallon of water and I have to pee.
All right, yeah. I was just gonna say let's wrap it up real quick. For I know I mentioned it earlier in the podcast. For those of you that don't know, Jay is the man behind the scenes. He handles all the t-shirts, all the logistics when it comes to shipping your stuff out. Um,
Well,
he,
screwed up. I just blame you.
yeah, blame me if it's screwed up. But we're looking to expand this the merch and all that stuff. And Jay's very talented and he's got a lot of good ideas. But hey, we've known each other for forever at
Yeah,
this point, right? I'm glad I was able to have you on. I'm glad that you're a part of Atlas Rising Initiative and your contributions to the nonprofit. It's not a small contribution by any means. Like I remember a few months ago, you were like, "Oh, hey, I'm glad you're finally starting this thing up again." I was like, "Oh, okay," and that was kind of my push because
yeah,
like the podcast was stopped for a little bit, and then that was it.
yeah.
Um,
But yeah,
so
with the nonprofit, there's a lot of stuff to come. I just met with the guy yesterday. I don't want to say anything right now. I'll talk to you offline. But I had a really good meeting. So we're we're hoping to do a lot more with the nonprofit. So it's going to be cool. It's definitely a fun adventure. So let's try to grow this thing.
absolutely. And as always, like, subscribe, follow, share. Is that how you do it? The social media thing? Yeah, I don't
I
know.
think it's
I'm
things and
yeah, I'm like a wannabe influencer. Like, oh hey, my stuff's like right up there. Merch link in bio, all that stuff. But on a serious note, atlasrising.org is the website. We have links to the merch store. We have links to all our social media platforms. include Instagram and a link to this podcast as well. Podcast will be published every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I look forward to talking to you some more, Jay, and um, seeing what we do next with this nonprofit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pumped. Let's do it.
All right, awesome.
All right, see you.
I'll see you.